The Book of Daniel. Chapter 1. Daniel's Healthy Choice. Daniel and his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were taken to Babylon to serve the king. They were offered rich food, but Daniel chose to eat vegetables and drink water to honor God. God blessed them with good health and wisdom, and they were chosen for important jobs in the king's palace. Chapter 2. The King's Dream. King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream that troubled him, but he couldn't remember it. Daniel prayed to God, who revealed the dream and its meaning. The dream was about a statue made of different metals, representing future kingdoms. A rock destroyed the statue, showing that God's kingdom would last forever. The king was amazed and gave Daniel a high position. Chapter 3. The Fiery Furnace. The king made a huge gold statue and ordered everyone to worship it. Daniel's friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refused. The king threw them into a fiery furnace, but God protected them, and they were unharmed. The king was shocked and praised God, saying no one should speak against him. Chapter 4. The King's Lesson. The king had another dream about a big tree that was cut down. Daniel explained that the tree was the king, and that because of his pride, he would lose his mind and live like an animal until he recognized God's power. This happened, and after the king acknowledged God, his sanity and kingdom were restored. Chapter 5. The Writing on the Wall. King Belshazzar had a feast and used cups from God's temple. Suddenly, a hand appeared and wrote on the wall. Daniel explained that the writing meant God had judged the king and his kingdom would be taken away. That night, the kingdom was conquered and the king was killed. Chapter 6. Daniel in the Lion's Den. Some men were jealous of Daniel and tricked King Darius into making a law that anyone who prayed to anyone but the king would be thrown into a lion's den. Daniel continued to pray to God, so he was thrown into the den, but God protected him, and the lions did not harm him. The king was relieved and had the men who accused Daniel thrown into the den instead. Chapter 7. Daniel's Dream. Daniel had a dream about 4 beasts, which represented powerful kingdoms. He then saw God, the Ancient of Days, who judged the beasts. Daniel also saw someone like the Son of Man given power over all nations, showing that God's kingdom would be forever. Chapter 8. The Ram and the Goat. Daniel had another vision of a ram and a goat. The ram represented the Medo-Persian Empire, and the goat represented Greece. The goat defeated the ram, but its horn broke, symbolizing the division of Greece. One of the smaller horns grew powerful and troubled God's people, but it would be defeated in the end. Chapter 9. Daniel's Prayer. Daniel prayed to God, asking for forgiveness for his people. The angel Gabriel appeared and told Daniel about a future time when God would send a Messiah. This would bring hope and a future for Daniel's people. Chapter 10. The Heavenly Messenger. Daniel saw a vision of a glorious man who came to give him understanding of future events. The man explained that spiritual battles were happening behind the scenes, but God's angels, like Michael, were fighting to protect God's people. Chapter 11. Future conflicts. The man in Daniel's vision told him about future wars between powerful kings. These conflicts would affect God's people, but God was in control, and in the end, the righteous would be saved. Chapter 12. The End Times. Daniel was shown what would happen at the end of time. There would be great trouble, but God would protect his people. The dead would rise, some to eternal life and others to shame. Daniel was told to rest until the end, when he would receive his reward.